From TikToks to TV ads to even feature films, it feels like the lo-fi retro aesthetic is everywhere right now. But why is this look so dang popular? And why has it stayed popular for so long? And what does that mean for us, the artists? Now, it's easy to jump to the obvious answer of nostalgia, which I will get to later, but I don't think that's really what's going on here. Before we dive into my art conspiracy theories, let's do a quick recap on what exactly we're talking about here. The lo-fi aesthetic has been around for ages. I remember the rise of like vaporwave back in the 2010s. But since then, it's kind of evolved and matured into a surprisingly clear and recognizable lo-fi look. Visually, in the world of photo and video, we now see a lot of analog film processors being used, people using tape and VHS as well. And more recently, we've started to see people using older digital cameras, sometimes called digicams. Grain, blur, weird artifacts are all welcome, not pains in the ass. And there's a great reason for that, which we'll get to. The thing is, it's not just the look of lo-fi that's trendy, it's also kind of the feel too. There's a pretty well established set of feelings we associate with lo-fi now, from cozy and contemplative like Lo-Fi Girl, right through to the sort of lone figure staring at a rainy nighttime cityscape kind of vibe. There is this definite repeated theme of loneliness and solitude and introspection in some of the lo-fi art, and in other lo-fi stuff, it's very whimsical. There are pastel colors, it's joyous and bright.
I think I was trying to suggest something about the duality of man, sir. The what? The duality of man, the Jungian thing, sir.
It's easy to see the appeal of the lo-fi look and feel, but that doesn't really explain why it's so popular right now, and more than that, why it's stuck around for so long and been so popular. I mean, think of the usual lifespan for a trendy look. Cottagecore? It's funny, everyone's taking photos on these 15-year-old digicams now, but nobody wants to edit them on a 15-year-old iMac. Speaking of, if your Mac is behaving a little bit like ancient technology, it might be time to give it a bit of a vacation with today's sponsor, Clean My Mac X. I recently got back from my first holiday in close to a decade up on the Baltic coast, and I learned a lot. Number one, wear a bike helmet, but other than that, rest is crucial for creativity, for productivity, and just for your overall health. Now, I know it sounds obvious, but when's the last time you gave your Mac a holiday? It's a bit unfair to come out of summer recharged, ready to grind, and your laptop is still just wheezing along doing 4K exports. Clean My Mac X has all the answers, and it puts them all in one place. The menu app gives you a quick top-down view at everything going on under the hood quickly and simply. It's so easy to keep an eye out, and if anything is wrong, you can fix it with a click. So if your laptop needs a chill pill, you can see what's spiking your temperatures, and if it's time to sit back and recharge, you'll know exactly what your battery is up to. Clean My Mac X does all of this while keeping your system safe from malware and threats in real time. Clean My Mac X's menu app will guard your Mac's health when you're back from the beach. Check out the link below for a 7-day free trial, and make sure you use the code HunterCreates for 20% off. I think one massive reason that lo-fi is so big right now is accessibility. Not everybody has the resources, the time, the money, or the knowledge to make the stuff that they want to make on state-of-the-art gear. And that doesn't mean that the lo-fi aesthetic doesn't take a lot of skill and practice. There are some amazing artists working in that space right now. Look, having an aesthetic that's compatible with offbeat cameras, weird edits, and weird looks, and embraces imperfection is a huge bonus for artists. Not just because it can make it more achievable for artists to produce something, but because it inspires you in the first place. When you see art that looks like something you could make, it suddenly feels like spending a weekend making something is like actually possible. And regardless of whether you like the lo-fi look or not, I think one thing we can all agree on is that more people trying to make art is better for everyone. Plus, even if fans of this look aren't trying to make their own art around it, I think a big part of the popularity of lo-fi is that it looks like maybe you could. I loved Dune Part 2. I think it might be my movie of the year, and it is amazing. And if you haven't watched it, what is wrong with you? No, seriously, you need to watch it. The thing about a blockbuster film like that is it takes an army of incredibly talented people and quite a lot of money to make something on that level. And because most young new artists have basically no money and basically no experts or friends, if we're honest. And so there is this element of relatability with the lo-fi look that even cinema can't compete with. And not only is the lo-fi look more accessible from like a production standpoint, it's also more accessible to share. And after all, art is for sharing. The lo-fi look is so popular and so embedded with these themes and feelings that there are whole communities, both online and in real life, dedicated to sharing, creating, and discussing these art forms. And they're bigger than you think. I mean, just look at Lo-Fi Girl here on YouTube. Imagine the AdSense. And aside from being more accessible, lo-fi is real. A big part of the lo-fi look is embracing imperfections and showcasing the human side of creation. After all, humans are imperfect. I forgot my line. Humans are imperfect, and I think that's why AI art is such a big turnoff for a lot of us. I think that one of the reasons we love art is it's amazing to think that a fellow mere human being made Starry Night or A Sunday Afternoon or Blade Runner. It's not just a fun Friday night movie, it's a showcase of what humans can do. One thing you can do as a human is like this video and subscribe to the channel. It would mean the world to me. And more than authentic being good, it's especially important now in 2024. Over the last decade, we've watched Instagram go from a place where we can stay in touch with our friends to an app that's very clearly divided between consumers and creators. And most of those creators are businesses. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but I think most artists, at least ones like me, don't want their art to look anything like something a marketing manager would make in Canva to sell you a course. Oh, and using this unprofessional approach, being okay with a bit more grit and grunge and personality, is a great way to differentiate what we're making from the soulless corporate art as a business model type stuff. But it's not just social media. Just look at the general trend in professional graphic design over the last 5 or 6 years. It's all about black and white, minimalism, boring fonts. Don't come at me, Helvetica fanboys. The lo-fi look, especially the more like grungy mixed media side of things, is the exact opposite of that. There's another opposite thing, and it's a little bit less fun. The general overall vibe and aesthetic of lo-fi, to me at least, seems to be, to its core, optimistic. It's whimsy, it's fun, there's nice colors, it's got energy, it's optimistic, and it's, you know, it's what the client means when they say to make it pop. The interesting thing about that is it's kind of the opposite of how I think a lot of us, especially younger artists, feel about the rest of the world right now. There's a lot of stuff that makes us feel uneasy. There's wars going on. We don't know what jobs are going to exist 10 years from now. We don't know what the state of the world will be like at all. So it seems only natural that we're going to be drawn to art that either intensifies that feeling or provides escapism from it. In fact, if you look at the data, like on Google Trends, lo-fi started to take off bang at the end of 2016, which is where we arguably peaked. And so maybe that helps to explain why lo-fi has been relevant for so long. Or maybe it's just that it's a fresh aesthetic look compared to what we've been used to for so long. Or maybe it's the feelings and ideas and connotations that lo-fi makes us think of. Or maybe it's the fact that it's a more achievable look, or maybe it's the communities that are built up around it. We'll just have to wait and see, and we'll have to wait and see what happens when inevitably brands get hold of this aesthetic in a much more serious way and start to ruin it for everybody else. Happens. Stay hydrated and create art.